Welcome to Rome. This is The Bittersweet Life with Katie Sewell and Tiffany Parks. Hello, this is The Bittersweet Life. I'm Katie Sewell.
I'm Tiffany Parks.
Tiffany in Rome, Katie in Seattle. But Tiffany just back from a long family visit to the United States, her home country. She's, if you're new to the show, she's lived abroad in Rome, Italy for over 20 years, but she is from the United States. And every few years, I feel, you go back to the States to visit family members. Today, we're not going to recap the entire family vacation, but part of your trip did involve New York City. And that is the wing we're going to be talking about. So introduce our topic. What are we talking about when it comes to New York?
Well, and if you're listening and you've listened for a long time, you know that after I go to the States, not necessarily every time, but frequently, we have done shows on reverse culture shock.
Right.
The things that shock me, the things that surprise me when I go back to the States. And I thought we could maybe do a New York edition.
Okay.
Because it's been a very long time since I've been to New York. And several things did pop out at me.
Okay.
Some are New York specific, some are kind of just big city specific.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. But before we jump into the weird things, why? Because you don't have family in New York. Why did your family decide to go to New York on the way out?
Well, Claudio, my husband, is a prima donna. No, he's a pampered traveler. He likes to avoid changing planes whenever physically possible. It's not always possible, but like if he can avoid having a layover, he will do almost anything to avoid that. Not only that, he usually goes back to work the next day. Not the day we arrive, because of course when you fly back to Europe from the United States, you lose the day. So not that day that we've arrived, although I used to do that when I was a tour guide at the Vatican. I would get out of the cab and go straight to work.
Gosh, what a nightmare.
I know. I was crazy. I mean, I chose to do that. But, the next day, so roughly 24 hours after arrival, and 9 hours if you're on the West Coast, which we usually are, is a big, ugly time difference, as you well know. And so if we can shorten it a little bit and kind of catch up, not quite halfway, but partially, a third of the way, that 6 hour time difference it's significantly easier than the 9 hour. There's something about it that 9 hours that it's just really hard. And so that's helpful. And the third reason is, we hadn't been to New York in a long time, and we thought, why not?
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. New York is fun. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your first major difference, that culture shock moment that you felt having come from Rome and going to New York? Two very big cities in very different ways.
Yes, very different ways. The number one thing, and this is true all over the United States, but it's especially true in New York, it is so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was kind of in shock many times about the cost of things, particularly the cost of a bottle of water. Just kind of like disgusted, quite frankly. We went to so many places that overcharged us for water. I was like, so what's the through line here? I'm like, okay, we're at the airport. Water's always expensive at the airport. $3 that, or $4. That's typical of American airports. In Italy, it's not that expensive. And then we were at the movie theater. This was not in New York, by the way, but we were at the movie theater, and I stupidly didn't bring any water. And this is, in Arizona, you really need it. And my little prima donna of a son is like, I don't want tap water, Mom.
You're like, you're going to get tap water.
Okay, I'll get the bottled water. And I didn't think to ask how much it was. It was $7.50 for a medium-sized bottle of water. $7.50.
I mean, that's theater prices for sure.
I know that's theater prices, but
Yes.
theater in America.
Right.
Then we were in New York. We went to a play. We went to off-Broadway play. Small bottle of water, like Poland Springs, $5.
Oh.
And then probably the one that upset me the most, which was the least expensive water, but it was like the place where water should not be expensive. It was our last day. We flew out in the evening, so it was kind of our last day, just like last walk in, up the Upper West Side or wherever we happen to be. and needed, a quick snack, we walked into one of those pizza dive places, like
Mm-hmm.
really like the by the slice, greasy on a paper plate, that kind of a place, like
Mm-hmm.
plastic tables and just very, very basic. And the water, which was again like the little Poland Springs, was like 350 with tax. And I was like, really? Really? Here? I just
Yep.
I just couldn't believe it. And when when we got back to Rome and I can't remember where we were just recently and bought a bottle of water for €1, I was like, oh, that's right. That is what it's supposed to be.
Which is kind of like what, 150 sort of roughly?
No, it's not 150.
125,
It's
125,
117. I can tell you it
117.
is 117, maybe even 116 now
Okay.
because the dollar is headed back up. But you go to an expensive place in Rome, like you go to a cafe on Via Veneto, like maybe the most expensive neighborhood in Rome, maybe $2 for the same bottle of water. Touristy places, maybe 150, but everywhere else one. So, it's just like, oh,
The relief, yeah.
oh. So that was one thing. But I mean, of course, it wasn't just the water. It was like sandwich prices, like at delis, like takeout delis, like $22 for a sandwich. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I was just in shock. And I think that the most ridiculous thing was at our hotel. Now, I personally think, and maybe I'm just used to Europe, but I think there should be a coffee maker in a hotel room. Don't you, Katie?
I mean, most American hotel rooms have a coffee maker in them, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and most European ones do too. So for me, a coffee maker is standard, and if you don't have a coffee maker, you should have complimentary drip coffee and hot water with tea bags available for guests. I'm
Yep.
sorry, maybe I'm a snob. I mean, maybe I'm demanding, but I just think that that's, in a 4 or higher star hotel, you should have that. So we checked into our hotel, actually our second hotel because we changed hotels. That's another story for another time. We changed our hotel. We upgraded and it was worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
However, there was no coffee maker. And I don't need to have like a tea like first thing in the morning. I'm happy like waiting until we're at breakfast, like at 10 a.m. or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But Claudia really likes that coffee first thing. So I called down and I was like, can you bring us a coffee maker, please? They're like, well, we don't have any coffee makers. We can send you up a tea, a kettle. And I was like, well, that's a start. I could have some tea. I always travel with tea bags. But they're like, oh, well, we have an espresso machine, which I'm sure everybody knows what an espresso machine is, but the
Yes.
little capsules go in. And I was like, well, great. That sounds great. And they're like, okay, well, the fee for that is $35.
Ugh, what?
Okay. Yeah, she's like, it's the $35 fee and it includes 5 capsules. If you want it refreshed, then you have to pay more.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but it gets worse, Katie. I was like, it was one of those, I feel like these days when I travel, I mean, I think it's travel just full stop. Whether you're trying to do budget or whether you're going all out or somewhere in between, like you're always spending more money than you had planned for, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it's always just like, Father, open my veins, just take everything. I'm not even gonna, like, whatever.
All
So I
right.
said to Claudio, I was like, do you really need this coffee? It's $35 for the machine. And he's like, yes, I want a coffee maker.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
He
so I was
went
like,
for it.
okay, yeah. And so I said, yeah, okay, bring it up. Well, they didn't bring it up. And we went out and we came back hours later and the coffee maker wasn't there. And I called. I said, we asked for a coffee maker, then espresso machine. And the woman said, yes, sorry about that. Do you know the cost? And I said, yeah, they told us it was $35. And she said, well, it's $35 plus tax, plus 18% gratuity, plus a $7 delivery fee.
What?
I know. And I literally said, that is ridiculous. Goodbye. We don't want it.
That is totally
Um,
ridiculous. Like, do they ever bring this machine to anybody? I mean,
probably not. Who would pay that? I mean, you could probably get Starbucks delivery 5 times for less than that, I assume. I added it up because I was like, now I got to know how much this is.
mhm.
And it was like $58 or something. But I mean, I'm all for tipping people, but 18% obligatory tip plus a delivery fee? I'm like, isn't it like one or the other? Like, doesn't the delivery fee
Yeah.
go to the delivery person?
Well, and how
Like,
big is this hotel? Like, I mean,
it was
delivery. Are
it was a
they
huge hotel.
okay? It was huge. So the person would have to walk for a good 10 minutes maybe to get to you.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, it was a big hotel, but it was all like vertical, you know? It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just take the elevator and you're there. But
Wow.
I mean, I had so many things brought up because it was a nice hotel, Katie. I'm just going to say it was a very nice hotel. And
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in a very nice hotel, I feel entitled to certain things like slippers, a bathrobe, a shower cap, and none of that stuff was there. So the guy was coming up and down, you know what I mean? And, nobody asked me for a delivery fee for the bathrobe and the slippers. So I don't know. I don't know, but that was my biggest, like, you got to be kidding me moment.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So that was the number one, I
Okay,
think.
yeah, the cost. Yeah, and things are really
The
expensive
cost.
right now in general, I feel.
I do know that. I have been following it and I'm aware that things are crazy expensive. And I noticed it even in Arizona, like at the grocery store, like
Mm-hmm.
just the price of like you were saying, like produce is out of control. Cheese is ridiculous. Um and even things like chips or crackers is like way more than I feel like it should be. But so that was kind of a general thing. But I was really surprised as well how friendly people were.
Mm.
I'm talking like random people that you would literally bump into. Because I feel like in Italy, you bump into somebody. If somebody bumps into you, you give them a dirty look. And like that's the end of the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like sort of ready for that in my mind.
Yeah.
It kept happening because New York is a busy city. There's a lot of people,
Yeah.
bustling and stuff. So people bump into you. And every time somebody bumped into me, I'd sort of look over, like getting ready to put my like bitchy face on. And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I'd be like, "Oh, that's no problem. No worries." You think of New York as being an unfriendly place. I think we think like those of us who don't live there, like in the general culture, it's like, dog eat dog world, people booking it down the street so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt like everybody was super friendly and people, I just so often found myself being like, "No, you're fine. You're good. Don't worry."
Uh-huh.
Which I
Yeah.
don't think is my default reaction to
Uh-huh.
things in Rome. Like I'm much more like ready to be annoyed.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny because yeah, I've seen you be ready to be annoyed in Rome for sure. And there is that kind of cold shoulder feeling in Rome when it comes to that sort of a thing. It's sort of the
Yeah.
same way how in Rome, like if you're walking down a sidewalk and let's say people are going in two different directions, okay?
Hmm.
In Rome, it's so common where these people will not get out of your way so that you have to like step off of the sidewalk to go around them, and they'll be
Yeah.
walking like three abreast or something, so
Hmm.
they take up the
With their
whole
arms
thing.
linked.
Yeah, and they won't like bend slightly to let you through. I remember having to get used to that living there. I was like, "Oh, I cannot believe," because in the States, people would like, if you're walking in a group of three and someone else is coming, someone would step behind, to let that person pass, and then you rejoin your group of three.
I mean, I do that, and Claudio does that. As an
Hmm.
Italian, Claudio does that here. But you're right, it's not as common. I just feel like in the States, there's this hyper awareness of courtesy, of general courtesy. I mean, not bending over backwards, but this sense of like, I don't want to be in someone's way. I don't want to step on their toes, bump into them. I'm going to be really careful.
Hmm.
Whereas I think in Italy, people just aren't as aware or they don't care. And I noticed this myself years ago after I'd lived in Rome for maybe a year. I was at Termini Station and I had like my trolley suitcase and I'm pulling it behind me and I'm walking through there super fast and I bumped into somebody and I mean, it wasn't hard. Like it was like a brush. It was more like I brushed them and I kept going. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just kept going. Like if this had happened in the States, I would have turned around and said, "I'm so sorry,"
Yeah,
or "Please
yeah.
excuse me," or whatever.
Hmm.
But I just kept going. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. They didn't actually get hurt. So
Hmm.
it's fine. If they had fallen down, that would have been different.
Hmm.
So you do get used to wherever you're living and like the sort of things, the way that people behave
Yeah.
in these situations.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that in general, the United States, regardless of where you go, people are very friendly,
They are. They
generally
really are.
speaking. And they're happy
And
to answer
Idaho, they're
questions.
super friendly.
Yeah, they're happy to
Yeah.
answer questions. I just got back from a trip to Western Pennsylvania, and you can just pull up to somebody on the side of the road and be like, "Hey, we were doing some family like trip down family memory lane type stuff while we were there, and we were driving around and we drove onto this woman's property who basically has built her house and has lived on this property where my dad's family used to have a house, but the house isn't there
Mhm.
anymore." And of course, this woman walks over because she's like, why are these people parked in my driveway pointing in the other direction or whatever? And we thought she's coming over to be like, what are you doing here? You know, you're kind of like, because we are trespassing on her property. And she finally comes over to the window, and my sister Sarah, who's driving, says, oh, sorry, my dad's family used to have a farm right here, and so we were just trying to figure out where the house was oriented. And the woman's like, oh, I thought you were interested in coming to the garage sale that we're going to have, but that's not happening till next weekend. So I was going to tell you, like, oh, it's the wrong day. But then she starts telling us all about when they took over the property, and she's like, yeah, you can see right there the foundation of where the house was is still right there. And sure enough, so it was just like one of those things where strangers coming up and being like, oh no, here's the foundation, here's the history of what I know, and all this stuff. But yeah, I kind of feel like the United States in general is like that. Very welcoming, very willing to be chatty in general.
Yeah. I guess it surprised me because New York is such a big city and is famous as kind of the whole East Coast is a little bit more brusque, than the West Coast. I don't know if you've ever seen that map of the United States. It's divided in, like, imagine a map of the United States with a big cross across it, like a plus sign. So it's divided up and down, and it's divided side to side. And each, corner, each of the four corners of the pie is like a different color. And on the northwestern corner, so where Seattle is, where Idaho is, where Montana is, it says genuinely kind. And then in the upper right corner, so where New York is in Boston, it says axe mean is kind.
That's cute.
And then the lower right, so like where Florida is like axe mean is mean. And then the lower left, where LA is axe nice is mean.
Oh, interesting. That's very funny.
I thought some of that is true, I think. But all that aside is just to say, yeah, being in a big city, it surprised me.
Yeah.
It surprised me.
All right, well, let's pause for a moment and take a quick break.
Want to spend a week in Rome with Katie and me at a time of year the city is less crowded, less hot, but just as wonderful as you imagine it? Now's your chance. The first week of November, this year, 2026, we are taking an intimate group of listeners to Rome for a week of beauty, discovery, and pleasure. After our 13 plus years hosting this podcast, which at least partially is about Rome and based in Rome, and my 20 plus years of working as a tour guide here, it's safe to say we know this city. And Rome is a city that is worth knowing well. It has so many incredible layers of history, art, and beauty to peel back, and we want to share that knowledge with you, our listeners, and maybe even inspire new passions that you will nurture and deepen long after our trip is over. The vast majority of people who come to Rome barely scratch the surface of what this city has to offer. And this trip is different. There are only 8 rooms available, and 4 of them are already gone. So if you'd like to claim a room or just chat with us about it, get in touch. You can email us at bittersweetlifepodcast@gmail.com, and one of us will get back to you personally to answer all your questions. Or you can visit our website, thebittersweetlife.net, to find any additional information. We can't wait to take you to Rome.
Another thing, I don't think that this surprised me because I've been to New York many times and I have explored it pretty thoroughly, but it maybe was the first time I really sat and thought about it, how different the different neighborhoods of New York are. Not just architecturally, like how the vibe is so different in the different neighborhoods of New York. And we didn't even go that far afield. Like, we stayed on Manhattan. We only had 3.5 days. So we were in Manhattan. We didn't go north of like 86th Street, but we did explore pretty much 85% of the neighborhoods south of that. But I've been to Harlem and I've been to the Columbia area. So I have explored. I've been to Brooklyn briefly. But it's like you just get in the metro, and you zoom through that city and you get out and you're in a totally different city.
Yeah.
It's just like totally different. So that really just kind of was something that I noticed anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess from Rome doesn't have that kinds of distinctions. It has some distinctions, but not radically so.
Yeah, like Rome will have maybe more architectural differences, but not even, I wouldn't say more than New York has. Because
Mm-hmm.
New York's got the skyscrapers,
Mm-hmm.
downtown, and then Upper West Side has got the brownstones, and the Upper
Mm-hmm.
East Side has those big fancy buildings. And then, there's the kind of grittier parts, like, in Tribeca and stuff. So it has architectural differences as well. I don't feel like there's such in the city. Like, yes, if you go into the suburbs of Rome, you're going to feel like you're in a different city.
Right.
If you go into the far suburbs, particularly. But, you could be walking around near the Pantheon, you could be walking around near Termini Station, even Trastevere. Like, you're not getting such a vastly different cultural experience.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true about New York. That's a good observation. And because they have that like quick, amazing transit system,
Hmm.
you're right that it is like you can just be like, you know what, not my vibe. Zip. Be this
Yeah.
is more. This fits me better. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Which is kind of what happened when we moved hotels.
Yeah, and I do think like the challenge of living in any city is like figuring out what neighborhood has your vibe.
Hmm.
It's when you
Hmm.
move to a new city, you're like,
Absolutely.
I gotta find my people. And I think part of the
Hmm.
reason why there were several things I didn't like about living in San Francisco when we were there for 2 something years, but I also think we just hadn't found the right neighborhood. Like I think we were living in
Hmm.
the wrong place. Like these people weren't my people.
Hmm.
And that part of
Hmm.
that was moving there blind. Like we didn't know what the vibes were, moving in. So,
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard.
anything else?
I mean, this isn't really a culture shock thing. It's just another observation. And I mean, I am not going to be the first person to say this by far, but there is a palpable energy to New York. Like it's palpable, and it's not just the people. There is something in the air or
Mm.
on the in the pavement. There is something in the lights. I don't know. And we were walking around the first night, we were walking around Times Square because that's where our hotel was the first night, really close to Times Square.
Hence why
Obviously,
you
there was all
moved.
yeah, yeah. We moved slightly further uptown. There was also the World Cup games going on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there still are as we tape this, but that added to it, of course, because Ecuador had just beat Spain, which nobody expected. And so there were a lot of Ecuadorians, wearing their yellow
Mm-hmm.
shirts in Times Square that they were like, dancing and playing music. And so it was very energetic, just that. But in general, like as we're walking through, I just turned to Aurelio and I said, there is nowhere like this in the world.
Mm-hmm.
There is literally no other place like this. Like there are some other great places,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, and some other unique places, but this is unique in its own way. I mean, Tokyo kind of captures some of it for me, but it doesn't. I mean, it's got the bright lights, it's got the big buildings, it's got the chaos, it's got the not really chaos actually, because it's crowded, but people are very orderly. It's
Yes.
got the crowds, but it doesn't have that sense of energy that you just feel pulsating through.
Mm-hmm.
And like wherever you go, like wherever you turn, there is something going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's an incredible play, or there's, some incredible music, or there's this amazing restaurant, everywhere you turn.
Yep. That's so true. I do think that New York is one of those such a distinctive place that if you got knocked out and you woke up in a city, that would be the easiest one to identify.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, here I am. I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is quite distinctive. And the energy is true. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like when I visit LA, which is like our other biggest city, East Coast, West
Hmm.
Coast, it feels like you could get lost in LA, like that everybody's there trying to make something happen and it just feels like you could get lost there.
Also, I feel like kind of in LA, you've got more of a sense of superficiality and faking.
Yeah, for
Whereas
sure.
I think in New York, everybody's like, this is me, like it or not. I am not going to pretend to be someone else.
Yep. Yeah,
And
that's
there's a
interesting.
permission for that there,
Mm-hmm.
And you walk through the street and you see the craziest people. You see people who are bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you see things you wouldn't see in most other places. And I would just sort of turn to Aurelio, who is a little shocked, from time to time, especially because Pride Parade was happening while we were there. So there were some, larger than life outfits going on. Just in general. And I just said, in New York, you get all types. You get all types. Any type of person that exists, you can find them here.
Well, I mean, do you know that Jay-Z's song, the New York song, and one of the lyrics is New York, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah, I know that song. I didn't know that was Jay-Z. They now have these little rickshaws in New York, bicycle rickshaws that drive through the city and they're all lit up and they play that song.
Yeah.
Like on blast.
Oh, that's great.
So you hear it. Like you're walking around the city and it kind of actually got annoying by the end. But you
Yeah,
hear
you're like... It's kind of, here's a funny thing, in Rome too, because when I first lived in Rome, and now I kind of miss it now that I've been going to Rome for over a decade, but when I first lived there in 2013, and there's those street sellers who are selling funny products at night, and one of the products that they were trying to sell blasted the song Gangnam Style, which, is a song you never hear anymore. So I started associating Gangnam Style with Rome, of all places.
Oh, God.
But that New York song, that one's got anthem power. That's got lasting power,
It does, yeah.
Okay, is there anything else that really struck your fancy?
I feel like it's very hard to be low tech in New York. And maybe that's true for any place in the United States now. But I just feel like, and I was talking with my sister before we went because she goes to New York all the time. She goes like 2-3 times a year. Her daughter is a musical theater aspiring star. And so they go all the time. They see the shows. And she's telling me, like, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, get an Uber, get this, get the tickets here. She's like, get Uber from Newark because you don't want to get a New Jersey cab because they're awful. And I'm like, oh, I don't have Uber. And she just looked at me like I was saying I don't have a cell phone, like I don't have an email address. She just looked at me. She's like, you've never used Uber? I was like, no.
Yeah, because you don't in Rome, really. Yeah.
I mean, you can use it, but I guess people do use it, but I don't think it's necessary because it's so easy to get a cab in Rome. There's cab stands everywhere. And there were a couple of other instances of that where she was like, you need to reserve. Oh, I know what it was, booking reservations. And she's like, just go online. You have to book it online. I was like, oh, I can't just call. She's like, no. Like, why would you call?
Call? Seriously? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like in Italy, if you do something online, like there's the sense of like, this might not be a real thing. Like, if I book online, is the reservation going to show up on their book? It might not. So I want to talk to a physical person. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, what's your name? Okay. Johnny? Okay, thanks. I'm going to write his name down. So if I show up at the restaurant, then they're like, I don't have any reservation. I'm like, well, I talked to Johnny and he told me.
That's so true. That's so true where you're thinking. I've had that experience in Rome where you're like, I'm going to try to make a reservation online. And then I'm like, I think maybe we have a reservation online. I don't know. I mean, it looked like it went through. There was a reservation system, but I'm not going to necessarily trust that it happened.
Exactly.
Which is so funny. Like that. I guess I'd never really thought about that, but that is funny. So are you guys moving to New York now?
No. And in fact, I thought while I was living there, and I've had this thought before, I don't think I could live there. I just don't think I'm cut out for it. It's just a bit much for me. It's just a bit too much. Yeah. If anything, I want to go smaller. I want to go towards a smaller town, not towards a bigger town.
Right. Well, that's all very interesting. Well, I'm glad you're back. It must feel nice to get home, I guess, after all of that. Or were you regretful?
It is nice. No, I was ready. I was ready to go home. I really enjoyed the trip and it felt like it flew. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the New York part because the New York part was great. But it was kind of like when I went to India and I was just like soaking it up and I was like, I don't want to leave. Like the first day I was in India, I was trying to change my flight and make it later. I realized instantly like 6 weeks is not enough. And then as soon as I got to Delhi at the end of my trip, I'm like, get me out of here. I got to get out of here. Get me out of this country.
And you're like, I'm good. That's all. That's all I've got.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to say that I felt that strongly in New York, but I was kind of like, okay, I've had my fill. Like it's time to go home.
Yeah.
Plus, I miss my puppy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first trip without the puppy, and definitely we missed him. And Aurelio said, I don't want to leave, but I can't wait to see Ulisse.
That's so true. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. We are going to Rome in November, and we do have a couple rooms left if anyone wants to join us. And it's July, which means Christmas in July, which means we'll probably offer you a discount if you decide to come on this trip. So give us an email, ask us about it, bittersweetlifepodcast@gmail.com, bittersweetlifepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll tell you all about it. You can also read about it at thebittersweetlife.net. Did you have anything?
Yeah, and I really think, Katie, that as much as New York is a totally unique place, I think Rome is also. There are lots of great Italian cities. There are lots of great European historic cities, but Rome is different.
That's true.
Rome is something else. And you really owe it to yourself when you go to Rome that you see it well and you go deep and just explore it in a wide open way. And so we do that with our group and we have an amazing time, and people come to love this city. And I was thinking when I was in New York, I had my moments of like, God, I hate this city. Like just from, I had these small moments and I was like, it would be so easy for me as someone who's not from here to be like, ugh, this city is awful, because I wasn't actually experiencing it, because I had to go out of my comfort zone to really experience New York as it deserves to be experienced. And and when I had that thought, oh, I hate the city in my head for a fleeting moment, I thought to myself of all the people who really get New York and would scoff at that and would be like, you don't know New York. That's why you say you hate New York. And I see people, on social media, saying, oh, Rome, ugh, we loved Umbria or we loved the Amalfi Coast, but Rome, ugh, it's exhausting. It's hot. It's crowded. Like, no. And I'm like, you don't know Rome.
Yeah, you didn't do it right. You didn't
do it right. You didn't do it right. So don't let that be you. Come to Rome with us. And if you've already been to Rome and you maybe didn't see it right the first time, come back. Rome is inexhaustible. You can always see more. And that's what we're going to show you.
That's right. Come. And I also would add that there's something about Rome where you can feel like you're a really intelligent person and that you know a lot about history and you know a lot about culture and you know a lot about whatever it is, art. And then you see Rome for the first time and you realize, oh, I had a huge hole in my knowledge. Because it's one thing to like read about it and it's another thing to actually see it in person. I think it just kind of, probably like seeing New York. It's like once you actually experience it, your understanding of things is different. It's been changed, And, there's the intellectual New York, there's the intellectual Rome, but then there's the actual places. And once you have been in those places, then you understand things better. I don't know. It's like it fills in a little hole of your knowledge. So that's my other pitch.
So true. So true.
So get in touch with us, bittersweetlifepodcast@gmail.com or thebittersweetlife.net. And come with us this November, the 1st to the 7th, 2026. It's going to be a great adventure. And until next time, this is The Bittersweet Life. I'm Katie Sewell.
I'm Tiffany Parks.
Join us again. Bye.